Hey, I thought this might be like an easier way to do it. Um, okay, so let's talk about story, state, and strategy. Now, I have a couple resources for you. I have a really good video. I don't know if I told you about it or not on my Facebook page. So it's FRIK-SHUHN, Yoga and Coaching. If you go on there and then just go down to the pinned video, it's a picture of me with like brown hair that's to here. Um, and it's called The Picture of You, and it's about 45 minutes, but like the stuff in there is literally life changing. So if you haven't watched it before, I encourage you go check out that video when you have 40 minutes to watch. It's like a coaching video around your story. Okay, this is really good stuff because we're going to talk about state, story, and strategy. So one of the things that you learn a lot about in the Facebook video is what your story is, and then we walk around with that story, and what we do is actually, without even thinking about it, and I know you know a lot of this stuff, is like unconsciously draw in more things to keep our story straight, right? So my story is one of a victim. My mom beat me up, my dad was a dick, and so it really fits that I'm poor me, right? And then a lot of the things that I will do will draw in people. Victims actually pull out victimizers, right? They did like a book asking child molesters like what drew them to the children that they picked, and they said there was like a victim mentality about the children. Shitty, but you literally like pull it in. So I always think about this being part of my story of like how things went with Jessie is that, I attracted her in because the thing is that the universe is going to keep providing the same thing until you work through it. And so even though it ended up in like at almost a victim, it feels like it did. It feels like personally that at some point, even though I'm not putting blame, that there was some manipulation, some subconscious things that went on that, she likes to work with people that she's kind of in power of, to be honest. And it put me in like a victim headspace where I was really attached to like the only way that I can do this is with a coach. And I mean, there's a piece of truth to it, but what I didn't recognize, as I mentioned in my email, is that with or without a coach, if I'm not doing the work, it's not going to happen. So it's really based on me. And to get to the next level, it helps to have someone that's already there, right? So that's really great. So in your story, as I'm a victim, I'll attract more people to me that will victimize me. Keep my story strong. It happens unconsciously. Go watch the video. So now what we've got is your story. Remember these little post-it notes? So your story is kind of based on everything. And your story, it like runs how you do things. So strategy. I had to spell it right. I hope I did. Spelling's usually my strong suit, but I feel like it doesn't look right. Strategy. Anyways, if it's not, I apologize. Usually I'm good at spelling. It just looks weird for me. So anyways, here's the thing. The story governs our strategies. And what I mean by this is, think about it. If I'm a victim, then my strategy with how I do anything is really governed by my story. So if I'm in a situation with my partner and he does something I don't like, here we go, this is good. My strategy to deal with that will more likely be one of victim than one of a conscious co-creator, right? So I could manipulate him into being wrong because it hurt me. It could, like all of the things. My strategies, the way I deal with life, are really based on my story. And I mean, how do you change your story? Bob Proctor will tell you through repetition or emotional impact. But like deep down, all these things can happen, but the story is pretty freaking solidified. It's been there for like 20 plus years, and it's how you're running things. So the one thing is like, what can you change? You can't necessarily change your story. It's really deeply ingrained. And how do you change your strategies? Like when you're coming from a place of your story, There's not much, right, that you can change. And so this is where we bring up like the last piece is your state. Now, oh, here we go. For a majority of people, their state is really governed by the two things that are difficult to change, your story and your strategies. Because let's just say your story is one of victim, so what you're doing is maybe manipulating people into giving you what you want because you're a victim, which puts you in a state of unhappiness and disintegrity, whatever unintegrity, whatever the word is, and that doesn't feel good. So it's kind of like this circle, this shitty circle that keeps right on going. What can you do? There's nothing. Oh my God, you need to give up. Or there's one thing that you can change, and that's your state, how you show up every day. So in this moment of like, where are we? There we are. In this moment of waking up in the morning, you are making a choice of what you want your state to be for the day. Now, you're always making a choice. So if it's not consciously, it's unconsciously. So often we wake up in the morning and the first thing we think is like how tired we are and how you didn't get enough sleep. So this is not fun. This will continue to draw in more shit. It'll be your story, and the strategy that you have for the day will be shitty because poor you, right? Lack, 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 lack. I didn't get enough sleep. I don't have enough money. My house isn't big enough. Like whatever the story is, it's like it just keeps right on going. And then that sets your state for the day, which is shit because your life sucks. And then that adds to the story of you're not good enough, right? Like it just keeps going. So the only thing you really can change is your state. And this is a conscious choice. When you wake up in the morning, what's your first thought? Now you need to start working on that. When you wake up in the morning, what is your first thought? It's time to change it. Because I can probably guarantee it's not like, I fucking rock. Right? And so that kind of looks like work, obviously. You wake up in the morning and you make a choice. How do I want to start this day? I mean, put a freaking notepad somewhere saying, how do you want to start the day? Hey, I'm so happy to be alive. Hey, I'm a top seller. Hey, I am wealthy. Hey, I have everything that I could ever need or want. Thank you, God. Like whatever it is that you want. And then there's pieces around that. So how do you change your state? There's a few ways around here. So a lot of things is what are you making things mean? You know, your language. What are the words coming out of your mouth? Because your words hold power. And what are you making the words coming out of other people's mouths mean? It's a really, really big deal. Because a lot of the time, like, you know, I can make it mean that, like, if right now Paul's downstairs watching YouTube and I'm in here working. And so he was up here and then he left. So I can make that mean that I'm a piece of shit, that he doesn't want to be around me. I mean, the truth of the matter likely is, who even knows, I'm still telling stories, is that he knows I'm working and he doesn't want to distract me, so he's doing it somewhere else. But I can make it mean a bunch of things, right? So really clearly look at your language and look at your interaction or your thoughts to how other people are interacting with you. Another way to change your state is physiologically. And for some reason, the third one is literally out of my mind right now. And I'm like a little bit embarrassed because I'm like, fuck, how do I figure that out? But if I don't remember it by the time, I'm just going to see if I see it in here. I'm actually just going to take the time to go over, grab the book, and then tell you what the third way is. But the second way is physiologically. So if I'm to ask you right now to take the position of hope, like, what does it look like physically in your body? And I want you to do this. Is like, what does it feel like to hope? Please. It's gonna happen, hopefully. Right? Okay, so then look at your body. Like, what are you doing? So the shoulders are slumped and you're kind of like leaning in and you're like holding your breath, right? Like physiologically tell the video what is happening. Okay, now let's go to like despair. Okay, what does despair look like? Right? Like even more. You're holding your breath. It's shallow breathing. You're like your shoulders are slumped. Like it's like desperation, right? Let's just look at, like, literally, I'm telling you right now, Rebecca, I'm going to kill you and your whole fucking family right now if you don't, I don't know, write me a note. I don't know. And you hear that, like, now physically in your body, show me, because I can see what that feels like to have sheer terror, right? It's like, it's a closing off, it's a slumping. What about depression? What does depression feel like in your body? What's the sensations? This is why I'm asking, because we label physical sensations as emotions, but they can be many different things. Like, tell me what anxiety is physically in your body. Anxiety feels like maybe your chest tightening, your heart beating fast, maybe butterflies in your stomach. You know, like, that's a physical sensation, and then we attach a label of anxiety. But if I ask you, what does excitement feel like in your body? You'll give me the same fucking physical description, the same sensation. So then you attach a label based on your past. This is crazy shit, because this is what we do without even thinking, because we're making choices, but we're making them unconsciously. So look at depression, this label of depression, and look what it does to your body. People sleep. They won't get out of bed. They're fucking sad. Their voice is low, right? Their shoulders are slumped. Their heart is sinking. These are all the things you know you're not supposed to do, because physiologically they put you in a state. And we're not independent of each other. So what happens if you change it? Like, what do you fucking think Wonder Woman stance is like? Why do you think people do it? Because it's physiologically proven to change your state. And so now just like add up all the things that you said, the way that you were in hope, in despair, in depression, in terror, and switch it up. What's happy? Happy is fucking, what's proud? What's excitement? Your voice gets louder. You breathe like, yeah. Woo, right? The shoulders are open. Your chest is out. Like, you're like, bring it on, right? Like, you're ready. So just change your physical stature if you want to be in a better mood. If you're going to the whole like I should have done way more, you're not changing anything. You're just beating yourself up. You're treating yourself like a piece of shit. Stop. Okay, I should have done that. All right. And I wouldn't even use the word should. Shoulds and shouldn't haves are shit words. I could have. I didn't. So move it on. Like that's how much shit I give myself. I mean, I'm not perfect. Don't get me wrong. I still am a victim. And I'm choosing not to be most of the time. Okay? And then when I notice these thoughts, then this is another thing that you can practice. When I notice the thought of, let's just say, I should have called him, then it's the thought is what's now bringing to my mind, oh, I'm having a sensation in my body. What's the physical sensation? Not the label, not anxiety, not guilt, not shame. Or you can go there if you want. But like, what's the physical sensation? Ah, my chest muscles are tightening. I mean, this is a perception, but my heart feels heavy. My shoulders are slumping. Okay. And then I'll attach the label. What's this feeling that I'm feeling? What's this emotion? Oh, it's guilt. Okay. And then when you sit there with it and don't do anything about it, it actually starts to go away. Right? Which is pretty sweet, because what our brains are doing is like our bodies are feeling a sensation and our brain needs to make sense of it. So it attaches it to the past. I've had this physical sensation when so-and-so has done this. And so then we're now just like throwing those emotions on that person as well. And so this is a lot. And I encourage you to watch it a few times. Oh, and I said I would tell you the third thing. So let me just see if I can make this happen in a quick way in which it's helpful. And hopefully you can still hear me. I just need to grab the UPW book. There we go. And I just need to find the piece in here that talks about the state strategy. Because this is the piece I was talking about. I myself was having the same thing with my coach, in which I was like, she was telling me to make a different choice, and I was like, I mean, fuck, obviously I would if I could. So help me out here. How do I change it? But she couldn't tell me. And then when I went to, I see, okay. And then when I went to Tony Robbins, it was literally like, you know, God answered my question. He was like, here's how you change it. Thank you for asking. And then I was like, thank you for showing me, Tony Robbins and God. So around state, the very last is focus. What are you focusing on? I mean, it's so obvious. I had to go get my book for that. What are you focusing on? This is the way you change your state. Change your focus, because usually if you're focusing on what depression or lack or blah, 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 change it. Stop it. Notice that you're looking at it, and then have something in the background. That's why I'm asking you, what are your 3 main stories? Where are your thoughts going? Change it. Have something in the background that's like, oh, look, I'm focusing on lack again. Okay, I'm wealthy. And then language and meaning. So if you're, excuse me, if you're, let's just talk about the same thing that we've been using. You're like, I should have called him. Look at the language and meaning. What are you making it mean that you didn't call him? And what does the language of I should have mean? So there's 2 pieces here. The language means that what I've done is wrong, because I should have done it and I didn't. And what am I making that mean? That I'm incapable, right? And then the physiology, change it. And you don't even have to change all 3, you just need to change one, which is awesome, because then it'll all change. And then your strategies, okay? So now, let's like look at this. Now your story, your state is determining your strategies. And from here is where the story changes. When you do it on a consistent basis, things will be different, right? So I hope that helps. That's a good breakdown. And watch this video repeatedly, okay? Yeah, okay. That's what I got for you. I'll talk to you later.